This is the VW Group's little secret, possibly their best kept secret. This is the ŠKODA Superb Scout. So first, a little bit of history. The VW Group has some posh names like Bentley, Porsche and Audi. They've also got some bargain basement names like Seat and Skoda. Skoda was bought by the VW Group, canny old Germans that they are, so that they could manufacture some cars behind the Iron Curtain, so to speak. And that was good news for both VW and for Skoda. And the reason for that is that they can use the same platforms. I'm always stunned at the amount of stuff that Skoda can get into these things for the price. Now this is a little bit different. This is not cheap. It's 61 grand. But for 61 grand you get these cool full matrix LED lights. And the way matrix lights work is like this. Let's just say I'm an oncoming car. As I move through the field of light, I stay in a pool of dim light. The rest of the road stays fully lit, and that means that at all times there's plenty of light to see where you're going. And under the bonnet is a 2-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine. One of the sweetest little things I've ever driven in my life. And this turbocharged unit gets around 200 kilowatts. And of course it's got smart locking, so the key's in my pocket and I can just walk up to any of the 4 door handles or the rear hatch, put my hand in and the door's open. And the mirror unfolds. But before I get in, have a look at how long this door is. I mean, that's one huge step, enormous. So getting in is really easy. And once in the back, look how much room I've got in the back. That's just extraordinary. There's map pockets, obviously, and plenty of room for my feet under the seats in front. There's a tablet holder on the back of the front seat. The outer rear seats are heated, and there's another zone of climate control back here. The head lining feels like a wetsuit, and the upholstery is nice leather and Alcantara. Of course, there's ISO fixed points as well, for those of you who have some little nippers. The headrest in the back can be put down so the driver can get good view. And in the middle is an armrest with some cup holders. If you pull this lever, the whole thing comes down. You can also get to that from in the boot, and you can see right through to the boot for people that want to go skiing. And if you just kick under the rear hatch, so long as the key's in your pocket, the door will open to reveal quite a spacious rear end. But it's got a lot of clever things. There's a cargo net on both sides, and there's a remote lever for lowering the rear seats, a power outlet, 12 volt, and on this side, the light that comes on when you open the rear hatch is actually a torch. In the front, it's the same story. There's more thoughtful touches. There's 3 positions on the driver's seat and a lumbar support that remembers all of the positions you've set for yourself. The stop-start button is where the key once lived, and pressing that turns on the accessories, which brings the car to life. One of the things I really like about this car is the digital dash. You can have many views on this digital dash, one of which is this simplified version with just the speed and the range left. Although the steering wheel is beautifully laid out, the cruise control, and that is smart cruise control, is on this stalk down below. The center console opens up and is cooled from the air conditioning. So you can open that little valve and it puts some nice cool air in there just to keep a little bit of a can of drink cool or some water cool. And this armrest, which slopes down under normal conditions, can be set to any height you like, so that you can sit there with your cup of coffee while you're driving. To put it back down, just lift it all the way up. Down below that is a USB input, a power outlet, the automated parking sensors, rear hatch, traction control off, drive mode button, and auto start stop. To be honest, it doesn't really need the drive mode button. This thing gets to 100 kilometers an hour in under 6 seconds. I think that's enough to be going on with, and it really doesn't feel at all lagging in just normal mode. But this is the pièce de résistance. This is the normal old Volkswagen Group entertainment system. Look at that. It's got gesture control. Now, I can't think what you'd ever use that for, but it is handy to know that you've got it just in case. And so that you know that you're in a Skoda Scout, it's embroidered on the back of the front seat. The thing I really like about this interior is that it's simple and the lines are elegant. And even the hard surfaces, like this bit of trim, looks really classy. That is the way to do trim that's not proper metal. Now, let's get it on the road. Scout has fairly big wheels and it is raised slightly from the normal version. And it does mean that there is a little bit more noise than I would have expected or hoped for. But the drive experience is nothing short of sensational. I'd go faster on these country lanes if I could, but it really is far too narrow to do anything too enthusiastic. But in the city is where most of you will be driving this car, so it's in the city where we did most of our testing, though a couple of 100 kilometres of my 400 kilometres was out on the highway. Around town, Scout is beautifully behaved. And what I've just done is put it into comfort mode, and that means it's gotten all floppy and the steering is super light and gears more leisurely. The whole thing feels like a big relaxing holiday. But you put it into sport mode and it gets all gnarly. Like most of these VW Group cars, the Skoda Superb is a car of many personalities. It's the school run car. It's the grocery car. But because this has all-wheel drive and a 7-speed DSG, it's also a pretty good weekender. We went down to the Royal National Park, and on those tight bends, it is superb. Superb. And I did most of my driving just in normal mode, and I did that to get kind of a base for the rest of the modes. At the moment I'm still in comfort mode, but what I'm going to do is put it into sports mode. Right, I've done that. I'm at a set of lights, and immediately I heard the revs jump up just a little bit at rest. Okay. Whoa, Jesus. Now sadly I can't get to 100 here because it's only a 70 zone, but the pickup just feels extraordinary. But it feels extraordinary in normal mode. There's a few other things I want to point. I'm just going to put that back into comfort. There's a few other things I want to mention as well. The safety gear. Superb will pull up if it sees something in front, but also while you're reversing. So back in comfort mode, it's back to feeling nice and leisurely and very, very well mannered. But it doesn't seem to have affected the handling one bit. All the electronic nannies are looking after most of the really difficult stuff. I've touched on a few convenience features like the torch in the back. The back windows also have little blinds on them so that you can have a snooze without being spied on from the outside. But it's the fact that this thing is completely chockers full of safety features that has most impressed. Of course I have active cruise control, so it'll keep me a set distance from the car in front and slow down when they do. It's also got queue assist, which I'm particularly fond of, as well as lane assist, and that works with the blind spot monitor. So blind spot shows up just here outside in the mirror, and it will let you know if someone's beside you, but also it won't let you change lanes if someone's beside you. It'll try and steer you back in. In fact, there's a bit of a hullabaloo. It bells and whistles you. Now you can hear just before we go on, we've gone on to one of those coarser chip surfaces that are so popular in Australia, and now we're on a smooth bit. Rough, smooth. you can hear how much of a difference that makes inside. You can really hear it on these big wheels. But anyway, back to the safety gear. The other thing I like is the parking sonars. It's all the way around the car. So it's not just at the front and the back. There's a little diagram comes up on the screen and it shows which region, whatever the obstacle is closest to. On our trip on the highway, I reset the odometer and we were getting about 6.5 litres per 100 kilometres, which I think is excellent. Around town it is a little more. So far with that bit of city and town driving since start, we're at about 9 litres per 100 kilometres, but that does gradually come down. The all-wheel drive system is seamless. You're not aware of what it's doing underneath you, but it does keep you safe. And on the damp roads that we've had over the last few days, the traction control didn't even need to cut in. It was just extraordinary. I normally try and think of something I don't like, something I'd change. What would I change? I would change nothing. That's all this week. That's all for ŠKODA Superb Scout. As always, if you've liked the film, leave a comment below. Hit like, but above all, do not forget to hit just there to subscribe.